What's up, people? It is great to meet you all. Thank you all for waiting. It's nice to see you've all come to my little performance today. It's my first time doing this, so I might be a bit awkward since I'm new to this world and all. For all of you who aren't up to date, I recently came to this world after getting ran over by a horse in my own. So it's been a bit of an interesting time getting adjusted and all that, but we can talk more about that later. For now, I should introduce myself, and you guys should get to know me a little bit better since I'm new to this and all, and I'm sure you all don't really know me yet. All right, so I've prepped a nice little slide to tell you all more about myself. Let me move my beautiful face a little bit. Okay, so oh shit, scuff. You didn't see that. You didn't see that. That didn't happen. Okay, anyway, general information about me. So, my name is Vin Lawrence. I come from a noble household in another world. My age is 24, I believe, in this world. I'd rather not get hit by a truck again. I will talk about that later. That is a topic on this little memo I've prepared to present. So my height is 171 centimeters. I think that's what you guys use in this world. In the Imperial system, that's a little over 5'7". To be honest, I kind of like the Imperial system better. I've heard people use the metric system better, but being nobility, the Imperial system just kind of sounds cooler to me. Like, you know, it's metric versus Imperial. And I'm a man who likes flashiness and regality, so I have to say I'm an Imperial system type of dude. Blood type, minor nobility. I've heard that in this world, when you go to the doctor, you usually get your blood properly typed. As for me, I've avoided that simply because I feel like if something is wrong with my blood and they find out, like, even though I'm human, I'm not from this world, right? So if they take my blood and they find something, I don't really know if I'm gonna get taken in. Like, I've heard a lot from a lot of people, like, if you're weird, like, you know, the government will take you in, or the governments will do weird things to you. I'd rather not have that happen, so I guess I'm not on medical. Although I've heard medical insurance can be quite expensive in some places, so maybe it's better that way, because I'm kind of broke after coming here. So my species, Isekai'd human. You know, as I was saying earlier, yeah, I am human, but I can't be sure I'm the same type of human as you people. So, yeah, I don't want to get probed. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, I am human, but not the same human, because back in my world, like, they use magic, and there could be, you know, different biology and anatomy involved in that. So for the same reasons I mentioned earlier, I am not identifying myself as a normal human, but an Isekai'd human. And you may be asking, if I'm so worried about, you know, getting probed, why are you streaming then and telling your name? Well, as you can see, this isn't my real face. It's a representation of that, so I'm safe. They can't find me. You know, unless YouTube sells me out, but we don't worry about that. So my languages. I learned these languages in the place I came from, but conveniently when I came over, they happened to translate into languages you guys use. What are my pronouns? I am a he, him, for sure. But I can go by they, them. It depends on the day, really, you know? I like to be fluid since I'm a poet. Okay, so the languages that I learned in my world are English. That's what I'm speaking now. That was the primary language I learned. And I believe they call my secondary language French in this place. And to be honest, it's been a while since I've spoken that language because I learned it back when I was going to the Royal Academy for Nobles, since I'm of minor nobility, like I said. and we were required to learn another language for diplomacy reasons, and it kind of slipped. I didn't find myself using it, and it's just kind of gone. So, little word in French. Bonjour, je m'appelle Ben Laurent, je suis un PNGtuber. Je suis très mal en français parce que ça était 14, puisque j'ai étudié les français. Oui, j'ai très désolé, mais je suis très très mal en français. C'est tout. Merci pour votre temps. That's a short message. There you go. Essentially, I was saying, like, I'm really bad at French. I haven't learned it in like 4 years. And thank you for your time, and I'm sorry for being bad. It's been a while. France in this world lost a bunch of wars. You know, that's part of why I didn't use it much in my world. Like I took it because it was like an interesting language, right? But the nation that spoke French wasn't really that relevant, to be honest. Like they had a lot of like fashion stuff and cultural influence, but in terms of military influence, not that important. All right, my likes. We'll go to likes and dislikes. That's how you get to know someone well. Little party games. Even back in my world, we did. What do you like? What do you dislike? I had a lot of that. I was from a minor noble family, but pretty small fry compared to the rest. But I still got a lot of people, trying to suck up to me. So like, this is the type of stuff I do all day, every day. Like Vin, what do you like? Like Vin, what gift can I get you? Like, how can I suck up to you? Cause you're a noble and that kind of stuff. Pretty. I guess I'd do it if I were a peasant. Fair enough. Sucking boots. Okay, so what do I like? I like sleep. A lot of people hate sleep because they're like, oh, I hate sleep because I need to charge. I wish I could just do stuff 24/7. And personally, I just like sleep because it's a pleasant experience. And back in my world, we did a lot of sleep magic, so you could be conscious in your dreams. But in this world, I've heard that's called lucid dreaming, since magic doesn't really exist, and a lot of people happen to enjoy that. I'm one of those. I kind of get that sometimes. I've mastered this art a little of lucid dreaming. I'm aware of my dreams. I can't control them necessarily in this place, but I've slept for like 14 hours at a time since coming here. It's stressful being in a new place, and just want to hibernate. Sometimes all you want to do is sleep. Okay, overhand grip. Now I'm talking about exercise. I believe you call them pull-ups and chin-ups here. So pull-ups and chin-ups, they're interesting. They're useful, good for building back muscles. The reason I say overhand grip is that if you have your thumb grip, like that's useful for like climbing ropes, opening jars, shaking hands, that kind of stuff. But what if you're like hanging off a cliff and you're about to die? You can't really use your underhand grip thumb, and that's not going to save you. So for that very reason, I like overhand grip, just in case I ever end up hanging off of a cliff and dying. And that might not be common in this place, but back where I come from, there was a lot of quests and adventurers and people who did alchemy, and they, look for like a fancy plant in the mountain, and they'd fall off the cliff and die. And I'm sure if they'd practiced overhand grip, that wouldn't have happened. What kind of music do I like? I will get to that later. Poetry. Poetry is good. It's just an honest expression of the heart. I feel like most people have written some form of poetry or some form of literature describing their emotions at least one point in their life. I don't think that's uncommon. It's just nice to read, especially when you find poetry you can relate to. And in this world, I've practically equated poetry to like rapping and songwriting, like just lyrical. Because, they're related. You're using a lot of the same literary devices when you're doing that. And also just like, stuff like the Odyssey, it's technically music. Because, it's poetry technically, but they sang it. And that's how it got passed down. So it's pretty much music at that point. Which gets to my thing about music. As for music, I really enjoy all types. Like, there isn't a type I particularly don't enjoy. Like, even country. A lot of people hate country music. Honestly, it's not that bad. I feel like every genre has a few good songs. Like, it's hard to hate one whole genre if you've explored it enough. I think every genre of music really has something good that you'll probably like. I will not overhand grip your nuts. So yeah, back to what I was saying about music. Yeah, there's just definitely something anyone can find they'll like in any genre. And back to being like being hydrated, just because not being hydrated kind of sucks. If you've ever had chapped lips or a dry throat, it's really bad. Yeah, the stream delay is a bit awkward. That's how it be though, man. So, being not hydrated is just really sucky because when you have like if you have a dry throat or dry lips and you've ever been through that, it's terrible. Like not being able to drink is just really unpleasant, especially if you have an itchy throat or something that needs soothing. Uh, Secondly, being hydrated just feels good. It's the type of thing. There's a lot of things in life, and this is one of them where you don't know it feels better until you start doing it. Chat flips on the, you say that, but what if you have to smooch a maiden and she says you're too chapped, dude? Then you'll be maidenless. You'll be maidenless. Anyway, yeah. So being hydrated is the like quality of life. Like if you're not hydrated, you don't notice it, but once you start being hydrated, you're just like life is so much easier. Like my skin is smoother. You're not gonna have baby smooth skin, but you're gonna have better skin. You're gonna have less chapped lips. Dry hands are kind of gross. You should definitely hydrate. Hydrate those. It's kind of gross if you have crusty hands. Just crusty skin in general. Hydrate yourself. Use lotion. It's easy. Also, like for drinking water, like water's just so versatile. It's so easy to stay hydrated. You can add so much stuff to water and it will still taste good. Dislikes being dirty. This this kind of goes back to being hydrated, but nobody likes if you're stinky. Are my feet smooth? No, I believe in this world. If your feet are smooth, it causes walking problems. You're supposed to have an arched foot. I believe that's normal. What's your favorite? What's my favorite drink? It's got to be coffee. Coffee is the best. And I'm not talking about like the coffee that's just overloaded with sugar. It might as well be soda. I mean like the real deal. Yes, babies do have smooth skin. That is why it's called baby soft. Okay, so being dirty. Nobody likes it if you're dirty or stinky. Like just nobody likes it. Like maybe some weird smell fetishist might like it, but your feet are smoother than mine. Uh, I'm sure that's nice. You use a pumice stone or something. Back where I come from, we just use pebbles and kind of like scrape dead skin off of our feet. Coffee actually does not dehydrate you. I heard that rumor and I investigated that. It still hydrates you slightly. But yeah, it does make you pee, but it still hydrates you slightly. I'm sure your feet are smooth, Time Lord. I'm sure that you're a lord like me. You're a noble. So I'm sure your feet must be smooth. Anyway, so being dirty, yeah, no, like nobody likes sweaty people. Put on deodorant. Just clean yourself. Clean your hair. Don't have dandruff. Like, have you ever been with someone where they just smell bad? And that happened a lot with peasants where I came from, and they couldn't afford to be clean. To be fair, but it's just very unpleasant to be around. I've heard that neckbeards exist in this world, and that if you ever go to a place where they congregate, it smells like absolute dog doo-doo. So, I'd imagine that the world would be better if we all just cleaned ourselves. You know, cats and dogs clean themselves every day, so why can't humans? That's my rant. Down bad. What does this down bad mean exactly? I have not heard this phrase before. Hey yo, dunking on peasants. I mean, it's the same way with homeless people here, man. I mean, like, I don't mean to dunk on them, but I mean, I'm sure they're stinky. And I'm sorry, but that's a fact. I mean, I'm not judging them as a person. They have their own stories and stuff, but stinky things are stinky, man. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, back to like related to being hydrated, irritated throat. Like when your throat gives out and you just can't talk, especially when people try to talk to you when you clearly can't talk, and that happens a lot with special kinds of people who just like to talk. and you literally can't. Like, you can't muster a voice. Your throat feels like garbage. You're trying to hydrate it, and they just like talk it off. It's an unpleasant experience, but also just the social connotations of having an irritated throat, and people just like want to talk anyway because humans are social creatures. So it's a rather unpleasant situation to be in. Okay, like what is up good? Are you talking about the heavens? Okay, and being misinterpreted. This goes back. It's a good thing you mentioned like hating on peasants, even if that was probably a joke. Because honestly, being misinterpreted sucks. That's how a lot of drama happens. Recently, I've been picking up heavens are heavenly quote 2022. Okay, recently I have been learning what they call Twitter, and to be honest, being misunderstood, being misinterpreted, like, and the retweets, there's so much drama just because of the character limit, and people just don't understand each other. Like, people just hate each other for no reason, and they don't try to understand the context of what like other people are saying. As a poet, that's a trigger, man. Like, we need to understand each other. That's what makes life fun. Trying to get along with people, trying to talk about your emotions and not get angry. And being misinterpreted just leads to a lot of problems in your life, honestly. I feel really bad for people who are bad at conveying themselves, so they're just always misinterpreted. That's a rough life to live. I dislike throat. I mean, that could be taken in a lot of ways, Tylord. I'm a Isekai'd human, not human. Shake my head. Humant. I guess we could call it humant. But then I sound like a human ant hybrid. That's some weird. That's not furry. I don't know what that would be. Anyway, anime. So we're getting to as they call in the your world the weeb stuff. I I love literature and animation. As someone who is an inspiring poet, it is my favorite thing to get inspiration from this kind of stuff. So some good anime. Odd Taxi, It Invaded, VV, all good mysteries. I really like mystery animes because one, it's not oversaturated. Do you like bunnies? Bunnies are cute. They kind of reproduce too much, but I guess that makes them easy food. Been on a few hunts in the lab where we just slaughtered bunnies. I mean, it's not much food, but it's enough, and they reproduce fast enough. Do I have furries in my world? The closest we would get is like barbarians who wear like fur coats as a flex. Uh, I have heard of a few magicians who polymorphed themselves into animals, so maybe that's a thing. Don't know myself. So yeah, back to what I was saying about those three anime. They're all good because they're mystery, and there's only like one per season, as they call it here. So it's pretty good. Just having something to watch and unravel. That's not isekai trash. I say that as an isekai person, and I enjoy my isekai trash, but there's so many low quality isekai and so many low quality harems and slice of life harems. It's just how it be. When you have so many numbers, there's less good quality works. And I'm not saying the genre is bad. I'm just saying mystery anime are like more likely to have decent productions. And these three are pretty good. Yeah, Code Geass is dope. I really liked it. That's its own thing. But if you like, like big brain animes, Code Geass is there. And that's why it's good, because you can kind of see what's going to happen if you think about it hard. But also, you just like watching because Lelouch is going to win. And sometimes you just need to watch that. You just like need to get that because in life we can't always win. And sometimes you just want to watch this cartoon hot anime dude win at life. That's also why I like King's Game actually, because it's pretty much about this prince. I won't give spoilers. And he's like, he pretty much has disabilities and everybody like hates him and he has to like rise up against the opposition. And it's just really good. It's a heart touching story. I teared up a few times. It's a good work. I'm not gonna lie, I tear up at anime. Good stuff. That's when you know it's good. And the devil is a part-timer. I like this because I relate to it. It's pretty much about, it's an isekai. I call them trash, but this is one of the good ones. Where the dude just gets transported. And he's a demon king, right? He gets transported to this world, and like he doesn't know how to speak the language, and he's broke. So he's living in like this shabby apartment, like working at McDonald's, trying to make bank, just trying to make it. You know what? That's realistic. That's what would have happened if he got transported to another place. None of that like, oh, I'm so OP, God blessed me. It would be like, no, you're broke and on the streets, like me. Games. Final Fantasy and Persona. I kind of clump them in the same because they're both turn-based RPGs where you kind of like raise your characters, and then you have to like strategize against bosses after you raise them. Like you have to choose the right equipment, choose the right moves, and you kind of butt your head against a wall if you're not prepared. But that's what makes it fun. It's not strategy like chess, but it is strategy in the fact that you have to prepare for fights properly and like kind of figure out the puzzle. There's many ways to figure out the puzzle, but there are some strats that just straight up don't work. And that's what makes those games fun, because you have to figure out the gimmick, essentially. Elder Scrolls. Good stuff. Skyrim was kind of bland. Oblivion was pretty mid, honestly. But like the Oblivion NPC dialogue, like that stuff is golden. That stuff is golden, dude. Anyone who's played Oblivion knows about like how wonky of a game it was, and that's why we love it. Yeah, AI Somnium is dope. I'll get to that later. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Good stuff. It's kind of triggering if you're getting into it because it's like very much based off of the classic D&D. So like you hit stuff and half the time you miss because your luck stat is absolute trash, but it gets pretty good once you get over leveled. It's a pretty trash game though if you're starting like with today's standards, but if you're into that stuff and you get far enough, like it's really fun. They don't have quest markers. You actually have to explore and find everything. Kind of like what would happen if you actually had to do quests. FromSoft games are all the same. Yeah, pretty much press B to win. Press dodge roll. Sekiro was a little different though, where you had to deflect, but I mean, kind of the same. I don't know. Depends. They're still fun games. I like the challenge. That's why I like FromSoft games. But it's not an unfair challenge. And that's a distinction I like about FromSoft games. Like, you get punished, and there are some bosses that are stupid, but most of the time it's like, oh, I messed up. Like, that's my own fault. I didn't get the timing right. It's a difference between, like, you get something really hard that you have to do, and you just get it done for work or college or whatever you're doing. And you're like, yeah, I feel good. I feel great. This challenge was hard, but I knew I could do it, and it was fair. And then, like, playing games of bad difficulty that aren't FromSoft games is kind of like you're working and all your colleagues just dump your work on you. And you know you shouldn't be doing it, and it's not justified, it just pisses you off. I feel like those are the two different, like, types of difficulties when it comes to games in general. Like, there's kind of like, piss off, this is stupid, why is this a thing? Like, I shouldn't be doing this. The devs shouldn't have done this, and they're like, oh, I feel pretty accomplished. So bad at games, FromSoft scares me. They scare me too, mostly for the eldritch, like, abominations. And I'm pretty bad at them, so it's okay. Just gotta get good. And AI Sonian files, like we were saying before. Good writing, good murder mystery. You already know, I like mystery anime. It's also just really good because of the gameplay. The murder mysteries, you can kind of see what's gonna happen if you think really hard about it. Like, not too hard, but like just an average amount of hard. But it's still enjoyable. It's kind of gimmicky. There's a lot of like ecchi humor, but I mean, it's Japanese, right? So that's just what you expect. So it's not that bad. It's pretty good. If you enjoy like puzzle mystery games, you'll enjoy it. It's a good game. Good dialogue. Decent length, not too long, honestly. But enjoyable nonetheless, and a memorable story. And just fun gameplay. Fun to, you know, mess with the dialogue options. Okay, my goals. My goals in this world are to spread my works. This is mostly because back in my world, like I said, I was a noble, and I wanted to do poetry and writing. But just like in this world, it's kind of like the broke artist, the starving Twitch streamer, the the broke poet, the broke musician. It was kind of a meme. And being a noble, it was a bit, you know, that's what people who work at taverns do. Why do you want to do that? That's not very noble. And so I was kind of laughed at, and I couldn't really do it. I tried doing it, but I mean, it wasn't really smiled upon, you could say. Especially, you know, since I come from a noble family and we're a lot about honor and noblesse oblige and all that. It didn't really work out. So I hope in this world I'm able to, write more poetry and spread that. And I want to enjoy like how technological everything is. In my world, I said we used magic. So over there, we'd write a lot of books similar to what you guys do for I think they call them light novels from the place called Japan, wherever that is, where people get like hit by a truck and then they get transported. Like that was the same thing here. It wasn't like a truck necessarily. It's like falling off a cliff, just dying, just being reincarnated essentially. Uh, so that would happen, and then instead of being a magic-based world, the books would be written about a technological-based place. Kind of like this one, where tech ran supreme instead of computers. Because for long distance and what you guys use for PCs and such, we just use magic for that. We'd like bop up a screen, use a crystal ball, and bam, you're chilling. None of that PC part stuff. It's pretty chill. Other thing I want to do, enjoy pleasantries. This place has a lot of good food and a lot of good stuff. And I might be stuck here forever, but I might as well enjoy it, right? There's no point in being depressed if you get Isekai'd. That's kind of beta. I do miss my old home, but it's not bad here. It's not bad. I made a lot of good friends. My other goal is to get good at games. I want to get good at games. I haven't been here long, and I had that game list I told you about, where I played them a little. But I'm still not that great at them, I would say. Especially stuff that isn't RPGs. Since most of my games are RPG. Like I'm pretty trash at combat games, fighting games, those types of things. And I'm hoping to branch out. I like RPGs because it's a lot like my home, but with guns and cars and everything, I feel like there's a lot of fun experiences here, and that should apply to games too instead of staying in my comfort zone. What kind of games do I plan to play? Right now I'm thinking variety. But Final Fantasy for sure. The games I actually put on my list for sure. That's gonna be fun. I might try my hand at some shooters. I'm pretty bad at them. But as long as it's single player, it's okay, right? Like I won't get flamed, so it's all good. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Tower of God came out recently. I don't know if I'm gonna try that. It's another gambling game, and gambling problems plague this world as much as they plagued mine. So I'm not sure if I want to get into that. And there's a few like just for fun games that I want to try. Like Fall Guys isn't bad. It's kind of I don't know. It's a fun game to play. Is it like high skill and like super engaging and intense? Probably not. But it still seems like a fun game to play. Assassin's Creed games aren't bad as well. Might try those. And my other goal is to avoid automobile accidents. So someone said in chat earlier that like I shouldn't get ran over by a truck. I definitely don't want that. I got trampled by horses when I came here, and honestly, trucks seem less bad unless you survive the first hit, but you really shouldn't. Like, you're just dead, right? Like, getting trampled by horses while, like, you hear kneeing sounds really sucks. Because it's kind of a slow death as your organs get smushed by, like, a 600-pound horse. And that was rather unpleasant, so, I'd rather not. Also, I've heard auto insurance is really bad if you get into an accident. So, let's avoid that since I'm already broke. And my last goal is to learn about civilization. Like I said, I haven't been here long, and there's a lot of interesting stuff I think I'd like to do. So I'm gonna learn about a civilization and enjoy the pleasantries of this world. The food, the games. Whatever else y'all have to offer, honestly, like art, poetry, music. Just the day-to-day things too. Y'all have different animals than we had. Like, you don't have orcs and goblins. I'm kind of glad you don't. It's chill. I don't have to like hide from orcs and goblins in a cave. I have like 7-foot spiders. You guys still have spiders though, but not as bad. All right, my tags. My live tag is Vin vibing. Yeah, there's nothing witty about that. I'm just like, let's have 2 V's. That would be cool. Hashtag Vin vibing. That's about it. I've heard to vibe is to just kind of like chill. That's the plan. Art. Hashtag vintage art. That's a pun. Like vintage? Yeah, that's all I got. Also, I do kind of feel vintage. because I'm where I come from a place, you know, that's a bit outdated in terms of technology. So one might say I am a bit vintage. Australia is where all the bosses are. I've heard a few things about Australia. Uh, Certainly the monsters aren't as big, but I've heard they're kind of just like deadly and poisonous. You know, that's even scarier than orcs, honestly. Just small, deadly, poisonous creatures. What are my parents thinking about that? I haven't asked them that, man. Like, you know, it's kind of weird. Also, I wasn't really close to my parents, honestly, back where I come from, because I came from a relatively big family, and I was the younger one, so I wasn't really forced in line to succession, which is kind of why I did poetry and did my own thing. But you know, I never really had the guts to ask them about that. I was always like, you know, Lawrence this, Lawrence that. You kind of just get known by your noble house's name. Your first name isn't really that important. Okay, my fans, Vinlaws. Speaking of name, yes, I did name my fandom Vinlaws because, you know, I've heard in-laws are family, and I want us all to be, you know, a chill little family. So, hashtag Vinlaws. Let's get it. A meme is a hashtag lolrince. I've heard lol means laugh out loud, but also this thing called League of Legends. Anyway, hopefully it gets taken as the laugh out loud type of thing instead of League of Legends. Clips. Hashtag law clips. You know, I don't have anything witty to say about this. It just happened. So I'm open to suggestions for name changes. For these tags. But, you know, otherwise I'm pretty good with them. League of Legends is cringe, don't tell people. Okay, I won't. Anyway, that is all for my little slides. So I guess I should get into the details about how I got here exactly. So like I said, I got ran over by a horse, but that's not a lot of context, right? So what kind of happened is I was just, you know, chilling, walking around the yard, looking for some inspiration as any aspiring poet would do. And there's this thing called noblesse oblige, where you're supposed to help those less fortunate than you. And, you know, I tended to do that because I'm not a jerk, like a lot of nobles. Also, like, I kind of had nothing to my name, so it was a way to get clout. I won't lie. It was definitely a way to get clout. So, there was a carriage that broke down in front of the manor. And usually, my other family members, you know, since they're nobles and stuff, they don't like associating. So I helped out the carriage dude. You know, the horses are kind of just being a bit fussy, whining, like neighing. I go up to him and I ask, hey, do you need help with anything? I just get trampled by a horse. I just get, like, just absolutely fucking bodied, dude. It was rather unfortunate and painful. Because, you know, it's not one horse, it's this dude had two. He was like a G. He was like a legend. So I'm getting ran by like 1,400 pounds. Yeah, that's painful. He was my least favorite noble. You know, honestly, the prince... the prince of the land was kind of a wad. Just like a wad of trash. He really wasn't fun. He was pretty trashy. I went to a lot of parties. He was 28. Just like a dude who drank, gambled, and womanized a lot. He didn't seem to care about his country. I mean, his dad was still in charge, I get that, but really unpleasant to be around. And he just kind of smelled like alcohol all the time. Kind of stinky, honestly. Alcohol doesn't really smell that good. I mean, alcohol doesn't really taste that good most of the time. Like, everyone says beer is garbage, and I agree. It's pretty bad. So it smells pretty mid, too. So, I got Isekai'd here, and I just kind of landed, and I believe they call them Renaissance fairs. So I just land, and I'm like, you know, I'm Vin Lawrence. I'm of the House Lawrence. Where am I? What happened? And, you know, everyone's just kind of going, oh, dude, nice costume. You're really into this, man. Like, where'd you get that costume? And I'm offended. Like, I got this thing tailored at the best tailor in the country. And I'm like, you dare call this a costume? Your mimicries are cheap. I admit that was kind of a jerk move. I was a bit triggered at the time. Like anyone would be after being stomped. And I wasn't sure if like, anything was real because I just randomly got transported to a new place. And so, yeah, that happens. And like people start, laughing at me, being like, "Oh, you're so good at that." And, like, nice prop sword. And I not my best moment. Not my best moment. I kind of got mad and I pulled out my sword and I'm like, "Did you just call this a freaking mimicry? I'm about to slice you up, dude." Not in those exact words, in more medieval words, but I've gotten adjusted to the way people speak here. And so I'm about to shank this guy because I'm pissed and I've been dishonored. And this man helps me. I won't tell his name because I don't think he'd be comfortable with that. So I'll call him my dad. He pretty much is my dad in this world. Like, we'll call him Father Lawrence. So Father Lawrence just like helps me. He's like, this dude's clearly out of his mind. He grabs my arm and he's like put down the sword. I know the situation you're in. And I'm like, huh? What do you know about me, dude? And so, he calms me down. Offers me some food, drink, just a homie. And then we get to talking. And he tells me he thinks I'm not from this world and that like I'm from a different place. And he starts telling me more about the world and about how there's no magic here and all of that. And, we just kind of vibe. And I find out that I am actually Isekai'd, as one might say, to this world. And so, he helps set me up, teaches me a bit about things. I'm kind of chilling at his place right now. He's been really helpful. And that's sort of how I ended up in this place. It's been a pretty wild ride, I must say. And not a very pleasant one. But it's growing on me. And it's becoming a pretty fun place to be, so I don't mind it. Anyway, that's all I really have to say now. It was nice to meet you all. I hope to see all of you Vinlaws soon. Oh yeah, my dad is very cool. Father Lawrence is pretty dope. Well, that would be the stream. I will put up a schedule later and probably stream maybe this weekend, maybe next week. We'll see. Catch y'all later. Peace out.